Hello to everyone. Today I want us to look at river profile. So we're going to be discussing river profile. So river profile is mainly the showcase of a river. So in some form of a sideway, so that we can see or view the river in a sideway eye view, or we can look at the river in a front view. Okay, yes, so it differs. All right, so a river profile can be expressed in two forms, which is the transverse river profile or longitudinal profile of a river. I repeat again, we have number one, the transverse profile of a river, which is also known as the cross-section of a river, and the longitudinal profile of a river. So we have those two, transverse profile of a river and the longitudinal profile of a river. All right, so let's discuss the very first one, which is the transverse river profile. Look, what is a transverse river profile? So the transverse river profile shows the shape of the river valley from one bank of the river to the opposite bank. All right, let me show you this in this case. So a transverse profile is basically the showcase the river in this way. So this is our bank on the other side, and this is the way to the riverbed. Okay, yes, and this is also the way to the opposite side of a bank. So this is bank number one, and this is bank number two, river bank number two. There is water inside, so that you can easily understand the situation. Okay, look, so this is it. All right, so there's water inside, and this is the river bank on the opposite side, and this is the river bank on the opposite side. So I hope you can all see, guys. All right, so this is the cross section of a river, or the transverse profile of a river, and it differs to each and every course. You know that we have the upper course, the middle course, as well as the lower course. So it differs, and it differs because of which type of erosion, or depending on which type of erosion is dominant in that particular course. For example, in the upper course, the dominant type of erosion that takes place there is vertical erosion, and vertical erosion is the erosion that is eroding downwards. All right, so I mean that vertical erosion erodes like downwards. Okay, yes, vertical erosion. And the lateral erosion is the erosion that erodes lateral. So meaning that if we have lateral erosion dominant, or there's more of lateral erosion occurring, this basically means that there will be wider river. So the river is going to become wider in that particular course. If there is more vertical erosion, this basically means that the river is going to be deeper, yes, or steep. It's going to be steep-like. Okay, yes, I mean that it's going to be longer. The riverbed is going to be situated down there. Okay, down there. I hope you understand that. And the reason why of this, but I'm just going to explain the fundamental reasons of this. All right, the shape, let's continue. The shape is dependent on whether vertical erosion or lateral, which is also known as sideways erosion, is dominant force. As I told you that it depends on whether the vertical erosion or the lateral erosion is dominant force, so that we can see that okay, in the lower course there are wider rivers. Okay, I mean that the river there is wide, so I mean that the lateral erosion is dominant in that particular course. All right, yes. So the cross profile or river the cross profile of a river looks like a V shape. Okay, it looks like a V shape, as you can see, V shape like. Okay, yeah. Okay, so the shape of the cross profile changes throughout the course of the river. As I told you that it differs to each and every course. Yes, so okay, all right. Look, let's just move down now so that I can explain this effectively. Try to explain it effectively for you guys. All right, look. Can you see? Okay, don't mind the upper one, okay? The upper drawing there, don't mind it, okay? This is just the longitudinal profile, which is not graded, okay, yet. Let's focus on the cross profile, on this cross profile. Let's focus on this one. This is the cross profile, which is also known as the transverse profile, okay? Let's focus on this one. Can you see that this is the upper course, right? This is the upper course. And in the upper course, there is more of vertical erosion. Why? It's because in the upper course, there is more of a steeper gradient, meaning that you know that a river starts from a high-lying area. And you know that the high-lying area has a steeper gradient. If there is a steeper gradient, it means that there is more of gravitational force towards the water bodies, meaning that there will be more of the friction on the riverbed, meaning that it's going to depend this riverbed downwards. There will be more of downwards erosion, as I told you, as I showed you here. I hope you get it, guys. Let's move. That's why it's in the upper course, it's more of a V-like shape, okay? That's why it's more of a V-like shape, because there's more of the erosion, downwards erosion. I hope you understand. Than the lateral. There is few or there is less lateral erosion or no lateral erosion at all, like in most cases, okay? Or let's say less, because there is. Okay, so let's move to middle course. So as you can see in the middle course, the value starts to widen. So I mean that the lateral erosion is slightly to be introduced, okay? Yes, so it's being introduced. As you can see in the middle course or the middle course river profile, or this specific river in the middle course is more wider compared to the upper course, because there is more of a lateral erosion right now, a sideways erosion, okay? Yes, there is more of lateral erosion, sideways erosion. So I mean that the sides of the river are going to be eroded so that it can start to become wide. So it becomes open, widening, gentle sloping valley. All right, so let's talk about the lower course. In the lower course, there is more of the dominance of the lateral erosion. There is more of the lateral erosion. So I mean that the most eroded geographical feature are the sides of this river, the sides of this river. So it's very, very wide. I think you can also see in your maps or in your textbooks or in your pictures, also in this kind of illustration here, you can clearly see that it's more wide in the lower course, okay, than the vertical erosion. So I mean that there is dominance of the lateral erosion or the sideways erosion here. All right. This here is the longitudinal profile of the river. So look, moving from the upper course, middle course, lower course, until to the sea. So at this point, we can say this is the mouth here, okay? Yes, to the sea. And the mouth is found in the lower course, guys, each and every time. All right, let's start in the upper course. So in the upper course, there are gorge, rapids, and waterfalls, as well as the river capture occurs there because there's more of erosion. Okay, yes. All right, and these, the rapids as well as the waterfalls, as you can see that the river is not well graded, is not yet well graded at this point, okay? As you can see that it's not, or it's uneven. As you can see, it's uneven. So it's not well graded, it's not yet graded, meaning that the concave shape has not been fully met. All right, so the rapids and waterfalls mean that are going to be the results of this. Okay, I mean that at this point, for example, there will be a waterfall. There will be a waterfall at this point. Okay, The rapids, waterfalls, and other fluvial features that are found just because of the erosion hasn't yet, or let's say the river profile isn't yet fully graded. So this basically means that the rapids, waterfalls, and other features are going to be a temporal base level, and we find the permanent base level on the lower course. So the part of it is going to be the mouth of a river and an end. Okay, all right. So, and in the upper course there is more of a steeper gradient. So I mean that is why in most cases we find the upper courses in the mountains or in highland areas as well as hills. All right. So number 2, the middle course. So when you talk about the middle course, the mostly found features are meanders, and you know the meanders, the river cliffs, and an end. All right. And this is whereby there is more of the transportation of the eroded material, because the erosion took place in the upper course, and it continuously occurs also in the middle course. So there will be more of the eroded material from the upper course as well as of the middle course being pushed away until it is deposited. And deposition is whereby the final transportation of these eroded material. All right, so the mostly found features are floodplains, the oxbow lakes, and deltas. Okay, so most farmers are going to use, or it's going to be suitable to farm around the middle course as well as the lower course, and mostly the lower course, guys, because in the lower course there is more of the availability of water inside the river. The land is very flat, meaning that the land is arable, and so these questions like these are going to pop up, guys. All right. All right, look, when this deposition occurs, that is why there is more of sedimentary rocks, because of these sediments have bulked up to, or they have piled up to form these sedimentary rocks in the lower course, and that's how it goes. So the final transportation is in the lower course. So mean that in the lower course there is deposition. Okay, yes. So there is no more transportation that is going to exceed after that, and this is the mouth, guys. That's how it goes. All right, and that's it. I think you also know the oxbow lakes, floodplains, deltas, and an end. All right, let's move downwards. So that you can discuss this for a few seconds. So the longitudinal profile of the river, although we have already discussed it. So look, this one, as you can see here, the longitudinal profile of the river is well graded. So I mean that is graded. What does that mean? That means that the river shape is concave, or is concave profile, as you can see, the concave profile. That is why it's well graded. So meaning that there is a balance between the erosion as well as the deposition. So, for example, if there is more erosion that took place here and formed a waterfall, so that waterfall as a temporary base level is going to continue to be eroded until it's plain like this. Okay, yes, and that material that is eroded there, those stones, those sands, and an end, are going to be pushed away until the lower course. So mean that there was a balance between the erosion as well as the eroded material. The eroded material have also been pushed by, or the water inside the river has much energy or the capacity to push the eroded material until it reaches the lower course. So if the river is not well graded, so that basically means that the river has no much energy, meaning that the discharge inside the river, or the water inside the river, has no much energy to push those eroded material until it reaches there. So mean that there will be more of rapids, the waterfalls, and an end. So it's going to stay a long time, not a graded river. So this one is a graded river, guys. All right, so a longitudinal profile shows the changes in the altitude of a river's profile from source along its channel to the sea. So this basically means that a longitudinal profile shows us that it shows basically the altitude of a river from this point to that point. Okay, yes. And when you move from that point, from the source to the mouth, you are going to pass each and every course of a river. So this is the upper course, the middle course, and the lower course. So usually the longitudinal profile has a concave shape. So it have a concave shape. It's going to be displayed like this, guys. So it will have a steeper gradient at the source and a gentle at the mouth. So I mean that you know that I told you that this is a high-lying area. As you move apart from the upper course, the river gradient decreases. So I mean that it becomes gentle. Okay, yes, until you reach the mouth. So in the mouth or in the lower course, it's more gentle. All right. In the upper course, there is most of turbulence, or I can explain in this way. Since it's steeper, so I mean that there are so many rocks around here, because high-lying area, it's a mountain. Okay, so if there are many rocks, mean that the surface is rough. Okay, if the surface is rough, when water is moving or passing through this course, something that there will be more friction, which results in turbulence or in a turbulent flow. In the middle course, there is still some turbulence. Okay, yes, but also you can also find a laminar flow in most cases, more especially in the lower course. In the lower course, there is more of a laminar flow with the greatest discharge. Okay, high volume inside the riverbed, because there is more of lateral erosion, which capacitates much water inside. All right, so, and also there's lowest velocity of water here because it's much gentler. So if there is in a gentle slope, there is less vertical gravity. So sorry, the horizontal gravity, yes. The horizontal gravity is going to be less at this point, okay? Yes, but as you move there, the horizontal gravity is greater, okay? So I mean that there is high velocity of movement of water inside the river, and in the lower course, there is less. And that's it, and that's the end of our lesson video. Don't forget to subscribe. Cheers, bye.